I can keep refilming the intro over and over and over again, but really I just don't know how to start this video. So I just want to say hi, my name is Destiny, and today's video is about my past, about my life, about my trauma, about my healing. I do want to give a trigger warning before I get started with today's video. If you are sensitive to topics around SA, trauma, abuse, child abuse, sensitive topics are going to be discussed in this video, and if that's going to make you upset, that's the last thing I want. So hopefully you could skip this video and watch some of my new videos that I'm planning on coming out with on my channel, or you can watch some old videos too. But today's video is very serious. It's about my life, it's about my past, about my healing journey, and where I am today. So in August of 2020, I went through a very traumatic time of my life. I just turned 25, and for the first time in my life, I revealed my truth of sexual abuse to my mother and my family. I had kept that secret for many years, over a decade, 10 years. I didn't think I would get emotional in this video, but I think I'm getting emotional because I feel like I have gone through so much in the last, 9 months. I'm really grateful to be sitting here right now filming this video. And speaking my truth. You have no idea how bad I've wanted to speak my truth. And sorry, I don't want to cry. I don't want to because I feel like I've come a long way, and I'm not, I've shed a lot of tears over this situation, and I'm not crying because of the abuse or because of the trauma. I'm crying because of this moment in time right now. This is a chapter completion for me, and this is the last step in my healing process, is filming this video and getting my truth out there. So it's really huge for me, and you guys get to be a part of that. So this is a true moment in history right now for me. Probably insignificant to a lot of other people, but for me this is pretty huge. So I guess I should start all the way from the beginning that led up to August 2020. I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was my main caretaker growing up. Both of my parents had me very young. They were together about 5 years in high school. They were high school sweethearts. Both of my parents were about 20 when they had me. And in my opinion, I think that's really young. I can't imagine being 20 years old and having a child. I'm 25 now, and I still can't imagine having a child at 25. So I can't even imagine how scary and hard that must have been for them to have me so young. They did end up splitting up after I was born, or during I was born. A lot of drama there. Not even gonna go there. But basically, my parents have always been split up my entire childhood, my entire life. So my dad lived in Arizona, and I would go and visit him, on holidays and spring break and, summer vacation and all that stuff. And I lived with my mom full time. My dad wasn't very present, even though I would go to his house and be with my stepmom and my siblings. He still just wasn't very present with me. And I feel like, obviously, as a child growing up, your father's not a huge presence in your life, it really does affect your, self-esteem, your self-worth. It affects a lot in your life. And that goes for, having a mother wound as well. So my father wound is very present in my life. I'm healing it slowly. This year, reached out to my dad and I told him everything, and that wound is being healed. And with my mother is a survivor as well. She had childhood trauma in her past, which has greatly affected her. I didn't really know that growing up until I was, in my middle school years, tween years, that I started realizing like my mom had gone through something, but I didn't exactly understand what that meant, or what the consequences of going through trauma was. Honestly, I didn't know what the consequences of going through trauma were until like the last 2 years. But my mom is amazing. She's so strong, and she has, completely persevered her entire life and has made a great life for herself on her own terms, regardless of her trauma. And she raised me and took care of me and did the best that she could, However, my parents just worked a lot because they were so young, and they were just trying to build a life for me and, for themselves. And my mom was a single mom working 2 jobs. I was always at a babysitter's house, or, with my family, or by myself. I remember growing up very fast. I was able to stay home by myself and take care of myself by like age 8, 7, 8. I was able to get up, feed myself, get dressed, watch TV, keep myself, busy. And after a while, it takes a toll. And I don't want to make it seem like I was all alone, neglected, but those times that I was alone, it does get internalized that I'm alone. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about me. Like those sorts of feelings and thoughts get stuck in your body, even though that might not have been the case. When I was probably about 5 years old, my babysitter's husband touched me inappropriately. I have a memory of taking a nap in his bed, and his hand was in my pants. I woke up seeing that, and I don't remember like everything that happened. I just remember that one incident, and I just remember thinking, man, that's kind of weird. What is he doing? But he's an adult, like, I don't know, maybe this is normal, like maybe this is like supposed to happen. You don't know when you're a child that those things are wrong, As far as I can remember, that was the only incident that I remember that young in childhood. I carried that with me for many years. I revealed it to my therapist, and I had never told anyone in my entire life. That was the first incident in my life that someone, took advantage of me. And then I grew up. I was very insecure growing up. I grew up very fast. I was more of friends with my mom than it was like a parent-child dynamic. And unfortunately, I was exposed to a lot of things that probably a child should not be exposed to. I got my period when I was like 9 years old, got boobs when I was like 12. If I'm being honest, I probably had a boyfriend when I was like 12. I was always interested in boys, interested in the attention I received from boys. I just really honestly wanted love. And in my mind, the only way to get love was to get it from a boy, a romantic partner. Growing up, I always felt like, my parents loved me, but no one ever really showed me unconditional love. The love that makes you feel secure, like you're okay, like you're good enough, that kind of love. And I never received that. Going without that during my developmental years was very hard. I felt very empty. I needed something. I needed like love. And then around my sophomore year, I started dating this boy. He was 17, turning 18, and at the time, I think I was like 14, turning 15. And we dated for a couple months, long distance, back and forth, and we were, sexually active. And Also during this whole time, I was on birth control. I did not want to get pregnant. At least I knew back then I was like being responsible, you know? So my mom did put me on birth control. I remember being totally in love with this guy. This guy was like my first love, you could say, like my first real boyfriend, where we went out on dates and we hung out and we like had a relationship, you know. And when you're in high school, like your relationship is your entire life. So during that time, it was, see, I'm kind of laughing now because it's kind of silly looking back, like at that whole relationship. At that time, he was like my entire world. So it's just kind of funny. But and he ended up cheating on me. I was so heartbroken. I remember when he told me like we were breaking up, he was cheating on me, he doesn't want to be with me anymore. I remember like crying so hard and so ugly, and so like I was so devastated by this breakup. This is my first like real breakup, by the way. At the time, that was my life. Like my boyfriend was my life. During my teenage years, my dad, obviously being a dad, did not like the fact that I was dating, the fact that I was, you know, having sex. I'm sure my mom told him that I was having sex at that age. And my dad was frustrated. Number one, he was not an authority figure in my life. You know, like he wasn't being a father to me. So it made him very frustrated that I was not listening to him, and that I was like, you know, I didn't care what he had to say. I was gonna date anyways. But my dad and I, we weren't close when I was in my teen years. It was very like weird, awkward. Like we didn't really get to know each other during those years. When I was a child, it was a little bit different, you know, but my teen years were very hard. And I think because he knew that he wasn't, you know, parenting me and being a father to me. And so I think he was frustrated and I was frustrated with him, and like we just clashed. And so our relationship was on the rocks, not good. And so my boyfriend and I, we broke up my sophomore year of high school. So I was about 15 years old. So that would have put, you know, would have been around maybe November 2010. Yeah, 2010, because I graduated high school in 2013. I was single for a while and I was just feeling everything, desperate for attention, love, warmth, a hug, something. I just needed someone to love me. And enter in this family friend. I don't even know where to begin with this story. It is so convoluted. This family friend is a friend of my mom's. They've been friends for 20 years, ever since I was 5 years old. I remember this person just always being around my mom's friend, you know. He owned a condo in California and my mom rented that condo from him. And so they were friends, and he would come over a lot and hang out and, you know, talk with my mom, and he was very present in my life growing up. My first memory of him when I was like 5 was when he would like come in my bedroom while I was like trying to go to sleep, and he would like bite my cheeks. Like he would bite my cheeks and just be like, "You're so cute, you're so cute, you're so cute." And, you know, hug me and say good night, you know, whatever, and put me to bed. And they would close the door, and, you know, my mom and him would hang out in the living room, and I went to bed. This person just kind of like stepped in as like a dad role. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I mean, he would like pick me up from school, pick me up from daycare. He would take me out to get ice cream. He would ask me how my day was going. He would ask me about school, about my friends, like, and this is all like elementary school. And then around middle school, we moved to Las Vegas, and he lived there, so he wasn't living here at the time. So it was just like me and my mom for the first couple years here. When I was about 13, we moved into a house that he owned. And this house that he owned was like a 4-bedroom house, and he was charging my mom, rent, and we lived there. So we went from living in like an apartment to like a full-blown house because of him. So he was helping my mom out a lot by charging her, not very much rent to live in like a 4-bedroom house versus like a 2-bedroom apartment. So for her, it was like a no-brainer, like, yeah, let's move. So my mom and I lived in this house by ourselves. And then he would come with his workers and do construction on the house very often. This house was a fixer-upper, so it needed a lot of renovations, like a ton of renovations. And every couple months, he would come by from California, bring his people up here, his construction workers, and they would renovate the house chunks at a time. So like, for 2 months they would work on the bedrooms, or 2 months they would work on the kitchen, or 2 months they would work on the outside. There was always construction going on at that house. He came back into my life again. He was always around, always friendly with me, treated me like I was his daughter. And, he would just make me feel so special. He would tell me, "You're the most beautiful girl in the whole world. You're so beautiful." He's like, "You're so smart." He would really just tell me so many things that I would like to hear. Especially as a teenager, when I'm so insecure, like unsure of the world, angry, confused, hate my life, and for someone to come along and tell you all of these really nice things about yourself, it's really nice to hear, especially as a young girl. As a teenager, we became a lot closer because we were able to talk about like life things. And so like he would like pick me up and we would go out to eat, and like we would talk about life. When he was here in Las Vegas, he was like kind of like an uncle. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He was like a dad. Like, he was like a male figure in my life who took care of me. Like, he would pick me up from school. He would make sure I had food to eat. He would ask me if I needed anything. He would ask me about how my relationship with my mom and my dad was. Like, he would ask about my friends. He would tell me how smart I am, how beautiful I am, like how I have my whole life going for me. Then things started getting kind of weird. Once he kind of had my trust, I feel like that's when like things kind of started taking a turn. He began talking a lot about sexual things around me, like always making sex jokes, and not like, he was not making those jokes like to me, but he was making sex jokes like around me. Like if he was talking to someone on the phone, or if he was like talking with one of his workers, or if he was like, describing his conversation with someone, like he would make these sexual comments, jokes, references around me all the time. And this happened when I was, in my teen years. And so I would always laugh it off, and I would always be like, oh, haha, whatever, there's nothing you can do when an adult is making those kinds of jokes and you're young like that. You think it's normal, you think it's funny, you think it's like stupid, you don't know how that could be considered uncomfortable and inappropriate. You just don't think of those things as a child. And then he kind of started in with like the secret keeping. Like, he would tell me like, don't tell your mom that I'm taking you out to eat here because she's gonna get jealous that I took you out. Don't tell your mom that I'm gonna do this, that, whatever. Don't tell your mom, but I'll help you do this thing. Like, it was a lot of secrets. And sometimes the secrets would be super small, and sometimes the secrets would be like huge. But there was a lot of like secret keeping. Like, don't tell your mom I told you this, but this person said this. And like, it's just really weird. I have a hard time coming up with examples because in my head, I do have a lot of repressed memories. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't remember a lot of things. I can remember core memories, if that makes sense. Which, honestly, I would like to do like ayahuasca and some hypnosis, because I would like to bring those memories forward and heal them, but obviously my brain is protecting me from some of these memories. So needless to say, he started in with the secret keeping, and then he started touching me, like petting my hair, like, you're so beautiful, like, you're just so, you know, you're the most beautiful girl in the world, your hair is so soft, you know, you're just so gorgeous. He would pet my hair. I liked it. It felt good. Why am I going to deny that? It's true. Then he would start hugging me, like, a lot, like hugging me all the time, putting his arm around me, grabbing my, you know, my side. If he was like hugging me, he would grab my side and fill me up. Like, he became very touchy, handsy with me. And at first, I was like, you know, kind of like, what the heck, like, oh, you know, whatever. But then after a while, I got used to it. And then also I started like liking it, you know, like I was getting attention, I was getting love. And I've come to realize, actually recently, in my last therapy session, that for me, one of my love languages is physical touch. I love to cuddle, I love to hug, I love to feel warmth, you know, like love, connection through physical touch. So that's a need of mine that he was fulfilling, to be honest with you. And knowing that now, like, I'm like, wow, like I never knew that. But back then, I wasn't aware of what my needs are. I wasn't aware of what was going on. I wasn't aware that this was inappropriate and considered grooming tactics. Like, I didn't know any of this. And then after, you know, the secret keeping and the touching and all of that, then came in like the separating me from my mom. He would tell me a lot of inappropriate things about my mom. He would tell me things about my mom's sex life. He would tell me things about my mom's, you know, friends, about my mom's life, like to make me upset with her, to make me judge her, to make me push away from her. And the reason why predators do this is to separate you from your parents, so you don't tell them what's going on. I remember just being totally mad at my mom. Like, he would tell me things that she would say about me, you know, like as a parent, she's trying to parent me and like talk about things in my life with her friend. And then he's going around and telling me what she's saying. So I would get upset with her for like, you know, talking crap about me or whatever. And at the time, like would get so angry at her. And it's crazy because looking back, like he was creating that drama and creating all of that triangle hot mess of communication to put a wedge between our relationship. And actually, this is a very common thing. He put a wedge in a lot of relationships, a lot. There's a reason why he doesn't want people talking. There's a reason why he doesn't want people to talk about him, to talk to each other. He puts a wedge between everyone. So that way the truth doesn't come out, right? It's classic manipulation. So, you know, he began sweet talking me, continued touching me, continued, you know, I don't mean like touching me, but like petting me, long hugs, putting his arm around me, sitting close to me, continued telling me to keep secrets, continue like, and it's so funny because I remember if he told me secrets, I would feel so special, like, oh, I'm the only one that knows this, like I'm so special. He trusts me. He knows that I'm not gonna tell anybody his secrets. He believes in me, like, because he knows I'm not gonna tell. It's crazy. It is so crazy how much this person brainwashed me and manipulated me and gaslit me and groomed me. I mean, it's crazy. And I did not realize this, you guys, until I was in therapy at 25 years old. I did not know that all of these things were considered grooming tactics. It was so subtle, so subtle. My mom did not even notice these things because she just saw it as him being a father figure to me, him being around, him being a male figure in my life. She did not see anything wrong with that because my father was not there for me and he was not around. So for her, I mean, she probably thought like, oh my God, this is so great. You know, he loves my daughter. He takes care of my daughter. He makes sure that she feels loved, you know? Like my mom had no freaking clue. And one day, you know, he just went for it. So leading up to the day that he, you know, took advantage of me, my mom went out of town to go pick up my brother. My brother was in California at the time, and she went out of town for literally 2 days, like not even a day and a half. And this is on the weekend. She was going to leave me alone at the house, knowing that he was in town and doing construction on the house. So she knew I wasn't going to be completely left alone. But this was not uncommon for my mom to do this because I was so responsible and so grown up. Technically, I was parentified, if you guys want to look that up. But this one particular incident, my mom was gone for literally a day and a half. But the details don't matter. What matters is that I was on this day. I remember it was like late at night. I think it was around like 8 o'clock, and they were doing construction on the outside of the house. And I remember him coming in, and I think he was like in my mom's room using the bathroom, or like he was doing something in my mom's room. I don't know what he was doing. And I came out of the hallway bathroom. I had no idea he was there. Like I had no idea that he was in there. And so I came out of the bathroom and I started like kind of walking down the hallway, and he was walking behind me, and he was like, hey, and we were talking, whatever. And then he was making like some sort of joke. And then the next thing I know, I'm pushed up against the wall with his body forced onto mine while he's kissing me. I was caught off guard. I was pinned up against the wall. It was not violent, so I definitely want to like put that out there. It was not violent, but it was like a forceful presence. I don't know if that makes any sense. And he just forced his body onto mine. My first initial response was like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on right now? Like, what? Like, and then, you know, after a couple seconds, I was like, oh, well, this must be normal. That's what I thought. This must be normal. When people love you, this is what they do. They kiss you, they hug you. One thing led to another. He took me to the bedroom and took advantage of me. I can't remember a lot from that night, and I don't remember how that night ended either. Like, I'm pretty sure he left and I was at the house by myself. But needless to say, that is the first incident, and from then on, he began texting me every day, multiple times a day. He began making arrangements for us to have sex a lot. He would text me, is your mom home? Can I come over? He would text me, hey, you know, like, I'm gonna be at this location for an hour. Can I come pick you up? He would tell my mom, oh, like, we're gonna go out to eat. I'm gonna take Destiny out to eat. We're gonna hang out. And he would take me, you know, to a location to have sex. He would just constantly bug me for sexual favors, constantly text me. This whole thing lasted for approximately, I think it was like 2 or 3 months. Again, it's all hazy, but I remember these things, certain things very specifically. I remember one day he picked me up from school and took me downtown to a hotel room where he proceeded to rent a hotel room for us to have sex in. It makes me very sad to know that the people at this hotel, very famous hotel, saw an older man in his 30s renting a room with a 15-year-old girl. Nobody stepped in. Nobody knew what was going on. And I think I hid it pretty well, obviously. And I mean, he hid it incredibly well. And he took me to that hotel room, and I do not have any memory of that at all. I remember we were only there for a couple hours. I think we checked in at like, I don't know, 2 in the afternoon, and he had to take me home at like 7. So we were only there for, what, 5 hours or so? I have no memory of it. I have 2 memories. I have one of me coming out of the bathroom, and I have one of me getting in the elevator. I cannot remember anything from that incident, from that day, which tells me how traumatized I am from that incident. Obviously, if I can't remember it, it's so repressed. I'm protected. Like, my brain is protecting me from it. And all I can think about during that time of those memories that I have, those 2 memories, are the fact that I was so fucking scared. I was scared that I was alone in this room with a man. Like, nobody knew I was there. Nobody could help me. And I was completely powerless. And I don't even remember how the rest of that day went. I mean, obviously he took me home. I went home. Like, I probably saw my mom, acted normal, said, "Hey mom, what's going on?" You know, like, it is so sad to me that I hid it so well. Like, and I'm not saying I'm like mad at myself. Like, I know I was just trying to protect myself and protect him, because he obviously brainwashed me into not telling my mom and not telling anyone. The reason why I have not told anyone about what happened between me and him, I made this mistake of telling my ex-boyfriend, the one who I broke up with when I was 15. He knew this person, and he knew that that was wrong. He told his sister, and his sister found out, who was older than me, and she called my abuser. She called him and said, "Is this true? Is this going on between you and Destiny? What's going on?" And he proceeded to call me and said, "Hey, did you tell your ex-boyfriend about me taking you to the hotel room? Did you tell him about what's going on between us?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." He's like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, "Because I was trying to make him jealous, because he was telling me about his new girlfriend, and he was just being a jerk, and I just wanted to let him know that I moved on and I don't care about him and whatever." Again, very teenager-ish, right? Very, like, that's my mentality at the time. I was trying to make my ex-boyfriend jealous over this situation. I mean, like, it is just so crazy. And in that situation, this person, his true colors came through. And he said, "Okay, listen, this is what we're gonna do." He's like, "We're going to do a 3-way call with your ex-boyfriend's sister, and I want you to act like that never happened. I want you to tell her that you were lying. I want you to tell her that it never happened. And you're gonna tell her that you made it up because you were trying to make your ex-boyfriend jealous. And I want you to say all of these things, and I'm gonna yell at you, okay? And I'm gonna yell at you because this is very serious and we could get in a lot of trouble. So this is what you're gonna say, and then we're gonna hang up the phone, and then everything will be fine and we'll fix it." And I was like, okay. I got on that phone call and he screamed at me. He yelled at me. He got angry with me. That was the first time that I've ever seen him get angry, like mad, like really, 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 really mad. And he was like, "How could you say this? Do you know what this means? People are gonna think that this happened, and people are going to think that, you know, there's something going on between us and it's illegal, and like, this is wrong, and like, how could you tell anyone that? And you need to tell her right now that this is not true. You need to tell her that this did not happen, because that's the truth." And what did I do? I said it didn't happen. I said, I'm sorry, I lied, it didn't happen. I was lying. I was just trying to make my ex-boyfriend jealous. I was just trying to make your brother jealous. I'm sorry. I should have never said that. It's not true. And I cried and I hung up the phone. I denied my own reality in that moment. I denied my own reality. The reality that I was abused, the reality that it did happen, the reality that he took advantage of me, the reality that he had power over me. I denied all of it. And when you gaslight someone and deny their reality, it makes them confused, crazy, and powerless, honestly. Because truth is power, in my opinion. Truth is power. Truth is like the ultimate highest light. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like, truth is up here. And when you deny that from somebody and you take that away, I mean, like, what do you have left? It's so sick to know that a grown man can manipulate someone like that to protect his own ass. I also forgot to mention, throughout the abuse, throughout everything that was going on, he always made sure to tell me I could not tell anyone what was going on. I have to keep it a secret. If I tell anyone we're dead, we're gonna get in trouble. Our life is gonna be ruined. I'm gonna hurt my mom. I'm gonna hurt all these people around us. If I tell, I'm gonna hurt everyone. And I thought that loyalty meant secret keeping. I was loyal to him. I trusted him. So by me being loyal to him and trusting him, I was keeping his secrets. So I would never tell anyone about what happened between us. He is a class A manipulator, like times 10. Like, he deserves an Oscar award for all of his lies and manipulation tactics. I am the classic grade A example of what grooming is. Literally. Textbook grooming. If you look up grooming, which I think I might put everything right here so you guys can read it, he groomed me 100%. And what's funny about all this, I don't even think he realized that that's what he did. That's the scariest part. Like, he didn't even know that he did that, but he did. I didn't even know he did that, and it happened to me. My mom didn't even know he did that. And I think it just goes to show like how grooming is, number one, not really talked about. Number two, it is subtle. It is so subtle. It can fly under the radar and happen right under your nose. And that's what I really want to bring awareness to. And that's why I'm sharing my truth, partly because I need to get this off my chest. But number two, I want to spread awareness. And so, like, grooming is very serious and can be very damaging and can also lead, the survivors down a dark path because you didn't even know that it was happening to you. It's like mind games. It fucks with your mind. So yeah, I was groomed by this man. I just wish I would have given more signs or more clues to the adults around me so someone could have helped me, but I didn't. No, I hid it well. Again, I'm not mad at myself for doing that. Like, obviously I was scared. I didn't want to get him in trouble, and I didn't want to get myself in trouble because I thought it was my fault. One day it just sort of stopped. Like, we just sort of just stopped having sex. We stopped the whole thing. And I don't remember how that happened. I think I know how it happened. This person introduced me to my boyfriend. Literally, my boyfriend who I live in this place with. Okay, sorry guys, the battery died and I had to take a break and eat something and charge the batteries, but I'm back. So yeah, the abuse ended between me and him because I met my boyfriend. This person is related to my boyfriend, which means that going through this whole process of coming out, speaking my truth, going through everything I have gone through in the last 9 months has been extremely difficult because both my family and my boyfriend's family have been involved. Like, I have kept this secret from 2 family groups, you know, from everyone in my life I have ever met. I have kept this secret. And so it's very devastating to like have come out with this truth, you know, in August of last year, and basically having to cut off like a big chunk of my boyfriend's family because of what happened. So after he kind of saw how serious me and my boyfriend were, he just kind of backed off and sort of took on the uncle role to me, to my boyfriend. He would just like, you know, take us out to eat, take us to the movies, like hang out with us, which is really freaking weird if you think about it. Like, this person, he abused me and now he's hanging out, being the cool uncle, fun uncle with me and my boyfriend. It is just so freaking weird. Honestly, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, what were we thinking? What were we doing? But the thing is, you guys, it is completely like ignorance and unconscious and unaware. Like, you just literally don't know that what is going on is not normal. And I really want to like reiterate that in this video. When the abuse is happening to you, you don't know you're being abused. You don't know that these things are not normal. And so I just went on with my life like nothing happened. It's crazy. So I grew up. I got a job when I was like 16 and a half, working at a restaurant. I got my license and my car when I turned 18. This person gave me my first car. He would just always be so supportive of everything I was going through. College, he would like ask me how college is going. He would support me, tell me how smart I am. I mean, like, he never stopped caring about me. It's weird. It's like nothing ever stopped except for the like the physical contact. Everything else remained the same. Life went on like normal, like nothing happened. And I do have to say, sadly, my sexual abuse story does not end there. I feel like my experiences with him shaped the course of my life. He brainwashed me and manipulated me so much that I think my life was altered from the time I was 15 and a half to now. During the time that me and my boyfriend have been split up, my boyfriend and I, we've broken up many times. During like my breaking up with my boyfriend and I would like be single for a couple months or whatever, I would hang out with guys. Like, it was constant, like needing attention from men. I honestly believe that that is because A, I didn't receive love and attention from my father, obviously. And B, because I was hardwired in my brain to get love from a man meant it had to be sexualized in some way. And I think that, you know, at 15 and a half, going through that with an older man just really gave my power away. And my brain was like hardwired to look for those similar situations. And so when I was, you know, working at this family restaurant, I was at work. I mean, harassed at work. If I was like at the dishwasher washing dishes, a cook would like rub up against my ass. A worker would like brush over my boob or something. I remember one time I was in the back, like standing next to someone, like my coworker, another employee, and he grabbed my hand and put it like on top of his pants where his junk was and was like, "I'm hard for you." Like, what? And then when I was 18 years old, I went out with this guy and we were friends. He invited me over to his house to watch Netflix. And like, I think at that time, it was like Netflix and chill, right? Like back in the day, that was like the saying, you know? However, I did not know what that meant. Like I didn't know that going over and watching Netflix with someone meant that you're gonna have sex. Like I really honestly did not know that. And so when he was like, hey, you know, you should come over to my house, like we can watch Netflix. And I was like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. And I remember like coming in his room and like we put on Footloose. I remember that. And we were watching the movie for like 30 minutes, and then 30 minutes in he started like kind of getting close to me and like touching me, and then he was like rubbing my leg, and then he was like, you know, went in to kiss me, and I was like, okay, whatever, like I don't mind kissing, you know, like whatever. But then he started like getting really rough, and he started like pushing me down on the bed. Like one thing led to another, and before I knew it, like I could not get him off of me. Like I said no like 3 times. I said no, like I don't want to, like no, I'm not into it, like stop, you know, whatever. But he proceeded to have sex with me anyways. And I remember laying there and I remember crying. And I did not know that I had the power to like get up and like hit him in the junk and tell him get the fuck off me. Like I did not know that I had that power within me. I was powerless yet again in a situation where someone was taking advantage of me, and I did not know how to get myself out of that situation. So I froze and I cried, and he had no idea I was crying. He had no idea that I was upset. Like he had no idea. And I'll never forget that feeling. I mean, obviously I've talked about it in therapy. I've healed a lot. Like I've healed so much, but you never forget those experiences. And lastly, my last experience was having a sleepover. I was having a sleepover with some friends, and this person I went to high school with, he's like a family friend to me. We're the same age. And I remember it was late at night. It was literally the middle of the night. And this person was touching me in my sleep. He was putting his hands in my private area and putting his fingers inside of me. I woke up and I like immediately moved over and I like grabbed my blanket and I wrapped it around me and pretended that like it didn't happen. And then he proceeded to put his junk in my face, and it was erect. And I like kind of went like this, like I pretended that I was sleeping. Like I literally pretended like I was sleeping so I wouldn't embarrass him or me, which is like, wow, I really should have punched him in the face or punched him in the junk. But you know, I was trying to like avoid that confrontation, and so I just kind of like acted like I was sleeping, and I just kind of like grabbed my pillow and I just went like this, and I like leaned over and I wrapped myself like super hard in my blanket so like that no one could, you know, touch me. Yeah, I woke up the next day and I told my boyfriend what happened, and there was like a whole confrontation. There was like a whole thing. And that was the last time that I was. So all of this happened in the course of like 3 years, from the time I was 15 all the way to the time I was 18. And I pretty much internalized all of it. I kept it in. I held all of it in. I didn't tell anyone what happened to me. I just went down a dark path, you guys. After I turned like 19, I just remember being very angry, being very insecure, being very judgmental, just completely like wrapped in pain. That's the best way I could describe it. I was in so much pain, but I was hiding it so well. I mean, I dug that pain deep inside of me. I remember when I went to therapy for the first time when I was 23, and this was 2 years ago when we first got started. She had me do like a diagram on like a whiteboard, and I drew this giant black circle on that whiteboard, and I filled it in dark, and it was like this big black hole. And she said, "What is that?" And I said, "I don't know, but it's inside me." I don't know what that is. She's like, well, we're gonna discover, you know, we're gonna figure out what that is. And I was like, I don't know. It's just emptiness. It's empty. It's in me. I have to say, over 2 years, that darkness is gone. That big black circle is not there anymore. It's healed. There's so much that I want to say to you guys. Like, I wish I could tell you like my entire journey. I mean, like, I honestly want to write a book, because I feel like I can't fit everything I want to say into, like, you know, a video. But I do just want to say that number one, I really, really do forgive those people for hurting me. I think holding on to that anger is no longer serving me at all. I really need to let it go. I really need to speak my truth, which I'm doing right now, and let it go, because holding on to that is not good for me, and it's not who I am anymore, and it doesn't serve me. So I do forgive the people that have hurt me. I forgive my babysitter's husband for touching me. I forgive that family friend for abusing me. I forgive my coworker for abusing me. And I forgive my friend for touching me in my sleep. I forgive these people. I also forgive all the people that me over the years at that job I had when I was in my teen years. Sorry, I'm getting kind of itchy. I forgive those people too. The reason I forgive them is obviously for myself, because I know that I need to let it go. And also too, I know that deep down inside of them, I don't think they meant to hurt me. They were just fulfilling their needs. And I was the conduit of fulfilling those needs. I just so happened to be there. I feel like those people at that time, they did not know what they were doing was wrong. And I do believe in karma. You know, I'm not wishing anyone bad, but I do believe in karma, and I do believe that, you know, justice will be served on my behalf, not in a traditional sense, you know, but I know that the universe has my back and that everything has happened for a reason. And I honestly believe that being a survivor, having these experiences in my life was a part of my journey, honestly, a part of my life purpose in some way. I don't know how. Maybe to inspire people, maybe to spread awareness, maybe to make someone feel brave because I'm being brave. I don't know why these things happen to me. I don't want to say I'm glad that these things happen to me, because obviously I've been very hurt and traumatized by them, but I want to say that I'm grateful for these learning experiences. I truly am. Because if I have not gone through what I've gone through, I would never be sitting here today talking to you right now. I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't feel how I feel. And I feel like I've taken my power back. And I feel like I am in control of my life and I define my life. And those people may have taken a piece of me and taken my power in those moments. But at the end of the day, I got it back. And I'm okay. But I do want to say that I could not have done this alone, you guys. I have been in therapy for 2 years. My therapist has helped me so much. Like, I'm grateful, so freaking grateful for her. I could not have done this without my mom, without my brother, without my boyfriend, without my family support system. Their support, their love, their understanding. I could not have done this without them and be where I am today. Hello, this is part 2 of my very long video. Yesterday, my battery died like twice and my memory card got full, and so I just figured I would, you know, leave that as sort of a part 1 and just kind of talk about today the effects that the SA had on my life and the effects that it's had on, you know, my family, those around me, my relationships, and my healing journey. The trauma had a huge effect on me. I would say the biggest effect was obviously when I was 15 and a half and I was groomed by my family friend. That had a huge mental toll on me. Honestly, he groomed me to believe that like women are always supposed to be beautiful and like have long hair and like, you know, wear makeup and look good. Like he would always give me advice on like how I should look, you know, or not how I should look, but like what the perfect ideal woman should look like. And so that has had like a huge effect on my self-esteem. I remember for like many years, I never cut my hair. And then around like 19, 20 is when I finally cut my hair. And then like I would not like my short hair because I thought it made me like not pretty. And then I would grow my hair out long again. So like that's like kind of like a complex that I have. Like I am so totally wanting to cut my hair like short, like to here, and I haven't done it yet. I might, you guys might see it on here, but it's just like little things like that are like stuck in my head. I remember this person always telling me to play the role. He would always say, play the role, play the role, play the role. So for many years that was stuck in my head, and so I would always like play or put on like a mask to people, you know, like, and be like who people wanted me to be, or like say what people wanted me to say. And I want to say that playing the role is probably one of the worst things you could ever do in your entire life, because you're never truly showing up as your authentic self. So for my entire life, up until probably like the last 2 years, I have been fronting this inauthentic person that was not me. It was this person that was a concept of what he wanted the perfect girl to be. And I just remember, like, I have that stuck in my head so much. Play the role, play the role, play the role. Not, he would not only tell that to me, but he would tell that to like other people. So that's like another huge factor in me like not showing up in the world as my true self. You know, like I was always projecting this other person that was like a different version of me, that was a people pleaser, and that was like super nice and like telling people what they want to hear, and like being someone's cheerleader, you know, and liking someone. And if someone didn't like me, then that meant I wasn't doing anything right. I mean, like, I literally thought that this person was like a god, you know, like I literally thought that he knew it all. He was self-employed, like he ran his own businesses, like he was like this god in my mind of like a person that had it all figured out. And so like as a 15-year-old, you look up to someone like that who just tells you like what to do, how to be, how to think, what to wear, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And you listen to that person because you just think that they know it all. Like I said, I don't want to put this all on him. Like my parents obviously had a huge role, like my family, you know, in my developmental years. So it's not all on him, but when it comes to like my relationships, like with men or my boyfriend, or like interpersonal relationships, that's when those traits show up. Like having to unlearn those things is what I've been doing in therapy. So back to my 20s, I just put up a fake front, you guys. Like I hid my depression, I hid my anxiety. I acted like I was perfect. I acted like everything was fucking perfect. Everything was fine. I was fine. I'm successful. I'm great. I know what I'm doing in this world. Like I don't need anybody. I put that out there into the world to hide how I was really feeling, to hide the pain, to hide the trauma. Because first of all, I didn't even know the things that I went through were trauma. I didn't even know that, you know, I had experienced until I was like 23 years old. I did not know that those things happened to me. So for me, I just kind of like was just always angry. And I always thought that it was just because I was angry at my dad. Like I was like, I'm so angry at my dad. I'm so mad at him. Like obviously there's pain there, but it's not because of my dad. It's because I literally have trauma in my body, in my mind, that was painful and that was unhealed. And it came through in a lot of different ways. I mean, I racked up a ton of credit card debt. I was shopping my way into happiness. I would buy things because I thought those things would make me feel good and take away the pain. I thought that, you know, acquiring things would make me feel better. That didn't work. I thought that being super pretty and like doing the most perfect makeup and like, you know, wearing the most perfect clothes would make me feel good. That didn't work. I thankfully never got into drugs or alcohol. Of course, I've tried alcohol, I've tried marijuana, like of course I've done those things, but I never got addicted to them. Like I didn't use that as a crutch to take away the pain, which is normally very common. And I'm not like putting other people down or anything like that. It's just very common to use those two things, alcohol and drugs, to numb the pain. But I did not. I actually was a workaholic. At one point when I was 21, I believe, I had 3 jobs, literally 3 jobs for no reason. Like I was living at my mom's house. I was paying like $300 in rent. I had hardly any bills and I had 3 jobs and I spent all of my money. I did not save a penny. And I got myself into debt. I put my body through hell working 3 jobs for like almost a year and a half. And for what? You know, like I had nothing to show for it. What numbed the pain for me was keeping busy. And what I mean by keeping busy, I mean like never allowing myself to be still and alone and present. I would always be working, going to school, which they're not bad things. Like I'm not trying to make it seem like, you know, those are bad things, but I was overdoing it to the point where I was running away from my pain, running away from myself, running away from the abuse by staying busy. Obviously, you know, constantly being overworked, in our culture, that is not perceived to be a bad thing. We live in a society where hustling and always being, you know, on the go and working and constantly, you know, striving, achieving, it's not bad. And so I thought that I was doing that because I was trying to like be successful and like trying to make a life and like doing what everyone else was doing. Everyone around me was doing the same thing, hustling, being busy, you know, never stopping to like be still in the moment. I completely just threw myself into busyness as a way to numb and cope with the pain of the fact that I was deeply depressed, had anxiety, was angry, and in pain. I shoved it away. I think I inherited those coping mechanisms from my mom. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm pretty sure she's aware of this. She, you know, has her childhood trauma as well, and her coping mechanisms are being busy all the time. My mom's calendar is full 24/7. Like literally I have to schedule times for us to like hang out and do things because she's so busy. And I think the busyness was what I witnessed my mom doing. And so I thought that that's what I had to do. And so it just became the perfect coping mechanism to deal with my unresolved trauma. Also, having this trauma in my life has made it extremely difficult for me to make friends, to keep friends, to show up authentically and make those connections with people. And I can literally count on my hand right now how many friends I have in my life. But at the end of the day, I feel like I really pushed people away because number one, I didn't know how to show up in a relationship that wasn't sexualized because of my trauma. Number two, I don't think I knew how to connect with someone and be vulnerable because I was obviously protecting myself from being hurt. Because even though I didn't know that I was abused, I knew that I was like hurting and I was trying to protect myself in some way. I didn't know how to be myself. And when you're not being yourself and you're trying to make friends, you end up with very superficial and shallow people in your life. And it is, I think, more lonely, in my opinion, to be friends with someone when you're not being yourself than it is to actually be alone. This abuse has also affected my relationship with my family members. Obviously, I've been keeping a secret from them for 10 years and not showing up as my true, authentic self to them as well. Holding that in and keeping that secret from my mom, betraying my mom. I mean, that was my mom's friend. I lied to her. Like I literally lied to her and kept that from her for so many years. And she was so surprised and bombarded and devastated when I told her that she was just so upset, because I didn't tell her sooner. It affected my relationship with my dad and my dad's side of the family. When I was going through that abuse, I completely pushed away my dad's side of the family. I have a lot of great memories with them. I love them. And I pushed away from them because they were like good people. And I don't know how to make that make sense. I grew up with my mom, so obviously I'm a little bit closer with my mom's side of the family than I am with my dad's side of the family. However, I have so many memories of good times with my dad's side of the family because I have a lot of cousins. Like, we're Hispanic and there's a lot of kids, and I have a lot of cousins, and I really love Hispanic culture so much. And it's a huge part of me that I feel like I kind of pushed away, and I'm really regaining that now and experiencing it now and loving my Hispanic side of me. And I think when I was 15, I really just pushed away from my dad's side of the family because they are very tight-knit and they are very protective of their children, and they are, true like parents. Like, they are in their children's lives. They ask questions. They want to know what's going on. They're overprotective. I knew I couldn't tell any of the adults around me, but I also kind of internalized that what was happening was normal. So like, I knew I couldn't go and tell my dad's side of the family what was going on because they were asking questions. They're overprotective. They want to know what's going on in my life, and I just pushed away from them. And also too, there's a lot of family drama, like with my dad, and there's a lot of stuff going on right there behind the scenes as well for why I pushed away from my dad. So it's not just because of my trauma, but it's because of other family stuff. But regardless of the situation, I mean, like, I was just completely pushing away from good people and moving towards my abuser, because he made me think that he was, the dad in my life, that he was, the person that was going to take care of me and knew what was best for me and always gave me the best advice and always made sure that I was happy, and in a way, like, he just replaced a lot of my family members because I relied on him and I trusted him and I was loyal to him. And it's so funny because now that he's out of my life, I have reconnected with my dad's side of the family. It's really beautiful because I've reconnected with them and I have them back in my life, and it's really awesome. So that was a huge blessing that came out of me healing my trauma. And I think the biggest factor of what affected me the most of this abuse was my self-worth, my self-esteem, my confidence, my self-love. I mean, like, going through the abuse and carrying that shame for all those years. First of all, I didn't even know that I was experiencing shame because I didn't know that, what happened to me was wrong. But when I found out that I was abused, I carried that shame because I realized what happened to me. And I honestly believe that my body carried that shame. My brain carried that shame in me without me truly knowing what that was. And so when I found out, that I was abused and all these things happened to me, the shame that I felt, I mean, like, it crushed my self-esteem, my self-worth. Like, I thought that I was unlovable, that I was unworthy. Like, who would love me? Who would even want to be my friend? Like, I don't love me. I'm not worthy of love. All those things. And, again, it didn't all stem from childhood trauma. Obviously, it did come somewhat from, my relationship with my father as well, feeling unlovable and, not getting that love and attention from him that I needed as a child growing up. It doesn't all come from trauma, but it was amplified by the trauma, if that makes sense. So feeling all those feelings, the shame, the guilt, the pain, all of that just really led me down a dark path, you guys. It's not good to feel those feelings. And so when I was 23, I was just really like desperate for change, like desperate to feel better, desperate to unlock some part of myself. Like, something in me said I needed to get help. Like, there was just, I don't know, my higher self or God or something was telling me like I needed to get help. And so I went online, I found a therapist, I found my therapist that I have now, and I reached out. The rest is history. I started therapy. I was going once a week for probably about a year. I was going once a week. And then my second year of therapy, I was going, twice a month. And then in August of 2020, when I came out to my mom about my abuse from 10 years ago, I started going to therapy every week, and my mom joined me in therapy. We did family therapy, and we had to heal our relationship. I mean, it was really ugly, you guys, really bad. Probably one of the worst times of my entire life. And I hope that that explains why I've been gone for 9 months, why I haven't been on my YouTube channel. My life was literally turned upside down. I went from being completely happy and content, living alone with my boyfriend and our cat, depressed, but doing the best that I could. I mean, I really felt like I was doing well. I felt happy, and then I went basically to being completely triggered by this family friend, to literally moving into my mom's house to get away from him, and living at my mom's house for 9 months. We were trying to save for a house, and we ended up saving a lot to purchase a house. But I don't know if you guys seen the news. It's just the housing market is super crazy right now, and we can't afford to, outbid these people in the housing market right now. It's just crazy. So we decided to get an apartment, and here I am. I'm here in our new place. We moved in about a month ago, and I'm back. I'm back on my channel. I'm back here with you guys, and it feels so good, you guys. I want to say that this journey of 2 years, it was a lot of fucking work. It was a lot of tears, a lot of talking, a lot of purging, a lot of analyzing and feeling and crying. And it was just an explosion of everything I had stuffed down in my core. It just came out. And of course it came out in increments, It wasn't like terror for 2 years, but it was gradual baby steps of healing all these little things throughout my life that led up to healing this trauma sorry guys, the camera cut off again. I'm so sorry. I'm sure the camera cut off like a million times in this video. I'm so sorry. But like I was saying, over the 2 years, I mean, it was like baby steps back and forth. I would make really good strides, and then I would go back like 10 steps. The healing journey is not a straight line. It is a zigzag up and down, over time. I have reached the end of healing the SA trauma of my life. I feel like I've done the work. I'm here speaking with you now, and it feels really good to have closed this chapter of my life. I do have a lot more healing to do, you know, with my father and rekindling that relationship and, you know, healing a lot of other relationships in my life. But that is honestly a cakewalk compared to what I've gone through in the last year, you know. So I'm excited to continue on my healing journey with, you know, certain relationships in my life. Overall, I feel like I am so blessed to have such an amazing support system in my life and to have gone through this experience of healing. I feel so blessed. And also, I'm really proud of myself. I grabbed the bull by the horns and wrestled that bull and took my power back in the process and came out, you know, on top. It feels amazing to know that I have healed that wound. It just feels really good. And I'm super grateful to be sitting here today. So yeah, that's my story. I would like to do more of these videos. I would like to, you know, talk more about grooming, the signs of grooming. I would like to bring awareness, you know, to other survivors so that they know that they're not alone, and help in some way, be of service in some way. I really hope that I reached someone out there to know that they're, you know, not alone in this, and that healing is possible, and that you are worthy of happiness and being whole. I just want someone to know out there that they're not alone, because that's how I felt. I felt alone and confused. And I if I can help someone not feel alone and not feel confused, I think that this was all worth it. So yeah, I'm here at my new place. I can't wait to start filming more videos for you guys. I am so freaking excited. I have a lot of exciting things coming up, a lot of ideas. I want to start a new business here in my home, and I do want to continue on my debt-free journey. I also want to just start making more content that is authentic to myself, like showing up as my authentic self, you know. Now that I got all of this out there on the internet, out of me and, you know, out in the universe, I feel like this is really who I am. No more hiding, no more playing perfect, no more trying to hide the pain. I mean, like, this is me. So thank you so much for being here, being present with me, listening to my story, and I hope that you are having a blessed day, a blessed life, and I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. This is Nala, my love. You're my love. Before you go, I want to do a shout out to this girl right here, Nala. She is my first pet that I've had as an adult, and she has been a huge support in my healing journey, and she sheds like crazy. This girl has been my cuddle bug and my emotional support. When I'm sad, she'll come and cuddle with me and love on me, and she's been here for me this whole time, and I love her so much. All right, she doesn't like being held, so I'm gonna put her down. Bye. Hair all over me.